Welcome. This is our Healing from Within workshop. We do these every month. This is March of 2025. And today we are going to cover information around trauma and the chakras and how we can work with our chakra energy system to help us heal some trauma that might be unresolved in our system. And we're going to talk about why that's important, why you would want to do that, and a few tips on how to work with your chakras to ease the dysfunction that might be left in your system from past trauma and easy tools and tips to work with your chakra energy system. And we have Lynn DeBuhr Johnson here with us today. Susie couldn't be with us, but this is perfect. A perfect topic for Lynn to be part of, sharing her wisdom that she has around the chakra energy system. So thank you guys for being here today. We're not going to do slides. We're just going to have a discussion. I might show an image or two here and there. But once we go over our quick review, then we'll open it up for questions and any kind of coaching or support that anybody might need. So let's talk about what chakras are in the first place, right? Most people that are in our community have a sense of what chakras are. Definitely the people in our trauma energetics coaching program learn about the chakras, and you could spend a lifetime learning about chakras. So we're going just to cover some very basic things, but it doesn't have to be hard and complicated. You don't have to understand a lot to be able to work with them and have benefit from some simple tools and techniques to support your chakras. So I'm just going to quote from one of my favorite authors, Anna Dea Judith. She has written numerous books on chakras and healing chakras. And she says that the chakra system, and oh, by the way, chakra, for if you don't remember, chakra is a Sanskrit word for wheel or disc. Okay. So from Anna Dea, she says the chakra system is an organizational structure for how the soul handles its life force. Excuse me. I call it, and this is Anna Dea's quote still, I call it the architecture of the soul. Each chakra is a chamber in the temple of your body that handles a particular kind of energy. Yeah, sorry. I wanted to mute my coughing out a little bit. So I'm going to say that one more time. The chakra system is an organizational structure for how the soul handles its life force. I love this idea that really it's our soul managing our life force energy. So Anodea calls it the architecture of the soul. Each chakra is a chamber in the temple of your body that handles a particular kind of energy. So Anodea says that her working definition of a chakra is this. A chakra is an organizational center for the reception, assimilation, storage, and expression of life force energy or charge. So we're going to talk about the seven main chakras. There are numerous chakras in the system. We're going to talk about the seven main ones. And actually, Lynn is going to do a simple overview of each of the chakras. And then I'm going to share with you how the chakras are tied to trauma, unresolved trauma in our system. And we're going to talk specifically about the lower three or first three chakras, which are most tied to unresolved trauma in our body. Okay. And then we'll go through um, more specifically some simple healing tools for the first three chakra centers. So Lynn's going to do a full review for us on all of the chakras, and then we're going to focus on the main three chakras that are affected by trauma. But what is trauma? So let's just do a quick review. Trauma is just simply an overwhelming experience that didn't get resolved. Okay. It doesn't matter what the experience was. It's not about the event or the experience. But anytime we had something overwhelming that didn't get resolution and we didn't have the opportunity to fully experience it, have help, and then discharge it, it stays in our system. Trauma can be in our physical body, it can be in our emotional body, it can be in our mental body, and it can be in our energetic body. It could be in one or in all of them, any combination of them. Okay, because we are not just a meat suit, right? We have a physical body, an earth body, right? That's in the third dimension. We also have an emotional body, mental body, and energetic body. And that whole complex, I call the body mind. And our consciousness, our soul that Anna Day is referring to, works through the body, right? We are not the body. We have a body. And we think of these energy centers as the way that our soul is organizing and handling our life force energy. So if we have a trauma, we have an overwhelming experience that didn't get resolution, it could be blocked in any or all of these parts of us: physical, emotional, mental, energetic, spiritual. Okay. Not about what happened. It's about the fact that we were overwhelmed, didn't get resolution, and it didn't get released. So this trauma can happen anywhere in the body. And let's say we have a trauma, like I broke my wrist and had surgery on my wrist. That was a trauma, but it was resolved. The energy of that trauma affected my hand, right? But it also, if I didn't have resolution, it could also live in my chakra system. Okay, so we're going to talk about what each of the chakras represents. And we want to know about all of the chakras, even though we're talking about trauma and we're talking about specifically how the lower three traumas, lower three centers, chakra energy centers hold trauma. One of the problems is when our lower chakras have unresolved trauma, it blocks our ability to activate the upper chakras. Okay? So the lower chakras being imbalanced keeps us from accessing and activating the four chakras above it, which means we don't have easy access to our intuition, to our heart, to our knowing, our spiritual knowing. So this is a problem. We don't have access to our full potential when we have trauma that is unresolved in our system. Okay. So just a quick review before Lynn goes in. She's going to talk to us about all the chakras in general, and then I'm going to go to the specifics of the first three chakras. But again, the problem is the unbalanced chakras, the lower three chakras, keep us from activating our higher chakras. Chakras can be overcharged, or I also call it excessive, or undercharged or deficient due to the trauma. So our goal is to balance them. If it's too hot or too cold, right, it's a problem. So think of Goldilocks. We want it to be just right. Now, it will activate and be overcharged to help you do something based on the properties of that chakra, but then it should naturally go back to balance. Right? So if you need to access the power in one of those chakras, you can activate it, have it be overcharged, giving you support and energy in that particular area, but then it should be able to calm down and be balanced again. Okay. So just like anywhere in your body, right? There's an ebb and flow, there's movement, there's life force. We get charged up, we take care of something, we relax. Trauma disrupts that natural capacity to move with the ebb and flow. But each chakra has properties that Lynn is going to cover, the properties of each chakra, and give us some tips on just the the qualities, and as well as some tools that we can use to support the health and balance of that chakra. And then, like I said, we're going to break down the lower three chakras, talk about how they specifically um, are tied to our trauma. So, Lynn, whenever you are ready, we're going to let you do a review of the basic 7 chakras. There are more chakras, right? Can't hear you.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate that um, trauma does often leave a lasting imprint on our chakras, like you said, particularly in the lower three, which are connected to safety, emotions, and personal power. The other piece is that the energy centers, the chakra energy centers, follow along the spine. And so the root chakra, which in Sanskrit is called Muladhara, is about safety and stability. And it's the base of the spine, but also a little lower. Um, the energy goes a little lower. So think of the perineum, and below is where it's located. And as I said, it represents security, survival, your foundational trust. So let's have to forgive me. I have my notes here. The next chakra going up is the sacral chakra, and that is Svadhisthana in Sanskrit, and it's about emotions and creativity. And so going up, it's just below that navel area, and that that has to do with your emotional expression, pleasure, creativity, and relationships. The third chakra going up the body is the solar plexus chakra, Manipura. That's about personal power and boundaries. And the location for that is in the upper abdomen area. And so this chakra represents confidence, personal power, and your self-worth. So now we've got, those are the lower chakras. Now we're going to go into the upper chakras, because these have to do with higher awareness. And, oh, thank you. As we move upward, the chakras shift from survival and personal identity to expression, intuition, and spiritual connection. So we have the heart chakra, Anahata, and that has to do with love and connection. And the location is in the center of the chest, just like the name with the heart. And this represents love, compassion, and forgiveness. Moving up, we've got the throat chakra, Vishuddha. That's about communication and truth. And it's located at the throat. And this represents speaking and living with your truth. Because sometimes if we have a hard time speaking our truth, we can still use words by writing them down. The third eye chakra, Ajna, is about intuition and clarity. And this is located between the eyebrows. Sometimes it's called the brow chakra. And this represents inner wisdom, intuition, and vision. And the final of the 7 main chakras is the crown chakra, Sahasrara. And this is about spiritual connection. And it's located right here at the top of the head. And this is your connection to your higher consciousness. And I'll just stop there. And do you have more you'd like me to share on that? I know we're going to be talking more in depth, so.
We are. So it's really helpful to understand just the basics of each chakra And the focus of today is to really see how unresolved trauma is affected and held in the lower three chakras. So we're going to go into depth on the root chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and the sacral chakra. I said those out of order, but that's what we're going to focus on. Remembering that trauma is not about the event, it's about not having resolution. So it could have been a physical event, it could have been an emotional event, it could have been multiple events, a chronic situation that happens over and over again. And it's not about the story because we could have had a traumatic event that had resolution and it's not a problem moving forward. But what the problem is, if we don't have resolution, is that it is stuck in our system. And the ramifications of that are that we get stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. We get stuck in the physiology, the emotional, mental, physical responses to threat, which is something that we all need. We all need the capacity to deal with a threat. So our body is wired through the autonomic nervous system to deal with threats, to deal with danger. So we have fight or flight, which is activation. When our system notices that something is dangerous, before our brain might even realize that there's a problem, our nervous system senses through cues in the environment and also sometimes just sensing an energetic shift in the environment. And it will start to reply to that response through chemicals in our system, neurotransmitters and hormones that put us in a mobilized state so we can fight or run. When something is so overwhelming and we don't have the ability or capacity to have resolution, meaning we can't fight our way out of it, we can't run away from it, we naturally go into freeze, which is shut down. So fight, flight, or freeze is governed by the root chakra. Our autonomic nervous system, again, senses, picks up on cues of either safety or danger. It doesn't judge it as right or wrong, good or bad. It's just safe or it's not. When we have trauma, especially early childhood trauma, as this part of our system, our energy system, is developing, because the chakras do grow and develop with our physical, as our physical body grows and develops, our chakras are also growing and developing. And so the developmental stage of the root chakra is womb to 12 months old, where we are really growing in our nervous system capacities. We're gaining more and more functionality in the world. And this chakra is being activated and growing and developing. But this chakra's basic drive is towards survival instincts, fight, flight, or freeze. So the goal during this developmental stage is for stability in the world, in our bodies, in our energy field, grounding into the world, being embodied. Our spirit needs to get anchored into the third dimension, into our body. It's also helps us with our physical health, our prosperity, trusting the world around us that it's safe to be here. If there is a disruption or trauma in this stage of life from womb to 12 months, it's also disrupting the health of our chakra. They go hand in hand. Okay. So we might not feel safe. We might not feel like we have the right to be here if we were disrupted with trauma at this stage in our life. affecting our root chakra and our ability to feel like we belong, feel like it's safe enough to show up and be here. When the root chakra is disrupted, we can have problems with our physical identity. We might not really feel safe in the body. We don't feel very identified with the body. So we might, like the leaving pattern that we teach in the trauma energetics course, we might be more identified with our intellect, with our thoughts, and with our spiritual self than we are with our physical body. Okay. So and the main dominant emotion when there's distortion in this chakra is fear. Okay. There's positive side to that, but what we're talking about right now is when we're overwhelmed with trauma and the chakra gets distorted or imbalanced, the main emotion that is the reaction to or the consequence of that distortion is fear. So the excessive characteristics when we're overcharged with in this chakra. Remember, we can be overcharged or undercharged, and we're looking for balance. So the symptoms of being overly charged or excessive in the root chakra is a sense of heaviness, sluggishness, monotony. Life is just monotonous. I'm just going through the motions of life. There could be hoarding. There can be then obesity because the body then is responding in the physical world to the heaviness of the energy there. It's stagnant. And there's a real focus on materialism. If there's deficiency, it's undercharged, there's frequent fear. Fear is just a constant state. Lack of discipline, there's restlessness, anxiety, spaciness, and can be more underweight versus overweight. Okay. So your distortion could be undercharged or overcharged. Could be excessive or it can be deficient. Either way, it's the one side of the coin or the other side of the coin. And the coin is the root chakra. And the focus of this root chakra is safety and security in the physical world. When it's balanced and we had a healthy developmental stage and it's balanced and activated in a balanced way, we can move up to the next chakra, right? And we can activate the sacral chakra. But first, I would love for Lynn to share some basic, simple tools to balance the root chakra. And again, this is whether it's overcharged or undercharged. We can use these tools to help balance and activate or balance the root chakra.
There we go. Um, and some of the other physical symptoms might be fatigue, lower back pain, and it can affect your immune system as well. So some grounding practices are good, like walking barefoot, deep breathing. Root chakra foods are root vegetables, so like beets, sweet potatoes, things like that. Protein-rich foods are great for chakra healing, root chakra healing, and using affirmations such as "I am safe and I am supported." So having those little notes around you are really important in journaling.
Mm, yeah, very good. One of the helpful tips also that I like to remember for myself is that simply by using my focus and intention, I can help balance that chakra, right? Energy goes where or energy flows where your attention goes, right? So if I just put my focus and intention on the root chakra and think about a beautiful, bright, sparkly gem, like I like to think of garnet for the root chakra, right? Because it's such a deep, rich, red, sparkly. That intention and attention on the chakra itself. Energy knows what to do more than we do, like trusting the energy. So just simply, if you know I'm in a state of fear, We can use the affirmations, I am safe. It is safe for me to be here. I put my attention and focus on my root chakra, and I allow the energy to do the work. Allow it to, if it's overcharged, it will naturally help to discharge or express itself. If it's undercharged, it will naturally bring in energy to charge it up. Okay? Just trust the energy, put your focus on it, and allow it to do its thing. Sacral chakra. Sacral chakra is about sensations, emotions, creativity, sexuality. Its drive is towards pleasure. The drive in the root chakra is towards survival. And if we get through survival and we develop that part of us, then now we get to think about pleasure. It has to be safe enough to experience pleasure. All right, so if we get through safety, now we're experiencing pleasure. This developmental stage is anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And the developmental goals here are fluidity, right? This is based in water. It's the element of water, right? It's whereas the root chakra or the element is earth, correct, Lynn? Right? So the sacral chakra is water, it's fluid, it's pleasure, it's sexuality, it's feeling, emotion, sensation. And there's the right here that we develop is the right to feel. I have the right to exist and to be here, and I have the right to feel and have pleasure. The main identity is their emotional identity for themselves, not external for somebody else, but more internally for myself. And the main emotion, when disrupted, is guilt. Right? There might be guilt around needs, guilt around receiving. When excessive or overcharged, we can be overly emotional. We can have poor boundaries. We can have addictions. We can have addictions to food, to gambling, to sex, to substance. There's obsessive like attachments. There can be big fear of abandonment and excessive attachment and need to tune in. So think of the merging pattern, right? Where we tend to want to find something outside of us to fill us up. If it's deficient or undercharged, we might have more frigidity, impotence, rigidity, be more rigid, emotionally numb, fear of pleasure, not just I don't deserve pleasure or guilt around pleasure, but there can be fear of pleasure, fear of receiving. Again, this is just an overview, and we're talking specifically about what happens to the chakra when there's trauma or disruption during that stage of development. When normally it would be flourishing, it can be overcharged or undercharged because of trauma. So, Lynn, can you share some things that we can do to help heal the sacral chakra and balance it? And again, whether it's overcharged or undercharged, do the same thing to balance it.
And some of the other physical symptoms with the sacral chakra have to do with reproductive or digestive issues. Again, you may have some lower back pain. So things like movement and, like you said, fluidity. So dance, hip moving, like belly dancing, but hip moving yoga can be really good as well. Water water therapy. So taking a bath, doing some type of hydration, swimming can be really good for the sacral chakra. And again, an affirmation would be I embrace my emotions and my creativity.
Thank you. All right, let's talk about the solar plexus, our third chakra. This is about power and will. right? Our ability to act. It's a drive toward something, whereas the drive in the sacral chakra is drive towards pleasure. Remember, in the root chakra, the drive is towards survival. So we move from survival to pleasure to will something to happen, to take action in the world. Okay. The developmental stage is 18 months to 4 years. And the goals during this developmental stage are to achieve vitality, spontaneity, have our strength, feel our will, have a sense of our own power, purpose, self-esteem. And the identity here is about ego, but not in a negative way. It's about our self definition, to like feel ourself as an individuated person. So think about the enduring pattern when we talk about the survival patterns in the TEC program. This is very associated with the enduring pattern, my right to have my no, to have my willpower, and have the ability to act in the world and sense myself separate from other people. When we're younger than about that 18-month stage, we're still very connected to our caregivers. We don't quite feel fully separate. So think about a child that's nursing is still very tied and connected to their mother, caregiver. But by this stage, 18 months and through about 4, we're really starting to feel our sense of ourself separate. If we're traumatized or disrupted during that stage, you can see how detrimental that would be to not have a sense of my own will, to have not have a sense of myself as an individuated person. And the consequence of that emotionally is typically shame. And the excess characteristics, if we have excess or overcharged third chakra, we can be dominating, blaming, aggressive, scattered, and all that energy, we need to do something with it. So we might have a lot of anxiety and the need to do something, to take action, to do something in the world, even when really the best thing would be to relax. We have this overcharged excess. I need to do something with this energy, but I have shame. So I might be both frozen because of my shame and activated because I have all this energy and anxiety at the same time, which can be very confusing and overwhelming. This is a common experience with people that are traumatized, tired but wired, frozen with depression or overwhelm, and feel this panic, anxiety, energy in my system. And I don't know how to manage both of those seemingly opposite experiences. If you're under activated or deficient, undercharged, there's a weak will. I don't feel powerful. I don't have the ability to take action in the world. So I might be passive aggressive. I have poor self-esteem. I might feel really sluggish. I'm afraid of things. I'm afraid, why even bother? Because I'll be humiliated or embarrassed, or it won't work, or I'm not going to be good enough. So I kind of hold back. I don't fully show up in my power because I don't have access to my own power. I don't feel my own will. So again, the dominant feeling is shame. Overcharged, undercharged. Either way, it's one side of the coin, other side of the coin. So when we're working on balancing this, the good news is it doesn't matter whether it's overcharged or undercharged. We focus on these healing techniques and it will balance itself, right? So Lynn, what are your favorite ways to balance the solar plexus?
Um, for the solar plexus, again, physically we have digestive issues and stomach tension. So we want to do some core strengthening exercises. Sunlight exposure is really important here. Nourishing foods like ginger, turmeric, whole grains. Now again, if you go with what your body can tolerate. Whole grains is not just wheat, and there are some good non-gluten whole grains. But the affirmation is, I trust myself and my inner strength.
Trust myself. Wonderful. So the lower three chakras, if imbalanced from trauma, keep us from being able to activate the upper chakras, which means we are stuck in survival, fight, flight energy, freeze energy, feeling not feeling empowered, not having access to our own power. So we can't live our full potential. When we clear that and balance the lower chakras, we open the channel. So think of your spine as a tube. It's an open channel. And the lower three chakras, when out of balance or distorted, keep us from having access to the beautiful qualities of our heart chakra, the qualities of our throat chakra, of our third eye, and our crown chakra. They can't get activated because we are stuck and blocked down below. So unsticking, balancing those lower chakras means that we can have open access to activate our heart, to activate our throat, our third eye, and our crown chakra, which means we have access to our higher senses. When we're blocked in the solar plexus and the sacral chakra and the root chakra from trauma, we are stuck in our five senses. We can only make sense of the world through our five senses. We are dependent on physical reality to make sense of who we are. And that's very limiting. We are more than our body. We are wired through our energy system and our chakra system to have access to our higher self, to our higher senses, our intuition, our seeing, and our knowing that don't live on the third dimension in the third dimensional physical body. They live and get activated through the energy centers. So if we want to feel more intuitive, if we want to trust our inner knowing, if we want to see more possibility, if we want to be able to live from that higher perspective and live our full potential, but we're not doing it, it might be because we have unresolved trauma keeping ourselves stuck in the lower realms, in the physical world, really stuck and dependent on our five senses. So, again, we're oversimplifying this, but I think it's good to keep it simple. You can absolutely spend years and years studying chakras and the science behind all of it. And it's fascinating and interesting, but what you really need is practical tools to change it. Knowing is not enough. You have to actually take action, do something different to have a different experience. So knowing is helpful and it's fun, which is why we like to teach about it. But we want to help you have the experience of healing. So a lot of that is enough information and direction, but then you have to actually use your awareness and your attention. Focusing your attention for me has been more fun to think about the chakras. Focus my intention on my energy body, focusing my intention and moving my energy into the chakras to activate it on an energetic level has been fun and also an addition to working with other tools to help me in my trauma healing, using the chakra energy system can make it more fun and actually make it easier to move through the lessons and the healing in each of the chakra centers. Again, your attention and your intention are enough to make a difference in your energy and in the chakras. And then when you do things with intention, like root vegetables for my root chakra, right? You're focusing on healing, and where you put your focus is what manifests. If we're not focusing on balancing and healing, then we're subconsciously stuck in survival. So the subconscious is going to stay focused on survival until we create a sense of safety. So safety is an inside job. It's not an external thing. So working with our chakras, we can help create a sense of internal safety. We can work with our root chakra to create safety in our body. We can work with our sacral chakra to create safety in our emotions and our relationships. We can work with our third chakra to feel safe with our own power, to feel safe to take action in the world, to show up differently in the world. And when we do that, automatically our heart chakra is going to be activated. And then our throat chakra is going to be activated. And then our third eye is going to be activated. And then our crown chakra will be activated. Yes. Some people are lucky enough to have a spontaneous Kundalini awakening where all of the chakras are activated and opened and balanced. But I think with our intention, we can go have our own awakening. So you'd only need to know a few things. If you don't have time or energy to go learn all about the chakras, you can just simply focus on the color of that chakra. Put your attention to that part of your body and bring in the affirmation. So we can do that right now. We can focus on our root chakra, tuning into that spot, the base of your spine. I am safe. I am here. I have the right to be here, and I have the right to be safe. I have the right to exist. Imagine beautiful red color. You can even imagine that it's spinning. The energy is spinning and moving. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's not too big. It's not too little. It is just right. And you can trust that the energy knows what to do. You just put your intention and attention there. Just notice what you feel. You might not feel anything. It's just a knowing. It might be a vision or an image. There might be a sensation. Just knowing you don't have to do anything but be with it and trust. Moving up to your sacral chakra. It's safe to feel this beautiful orange life force energy. Your emotion, your creativity, you can flow in the giving and receiving of life, and it's safe to feel. You allow yourself to be in the flow because it's safe enough to feel and to flow through life. And we move up to our solar plexus. This is golden bright golden life force energy gives us power to act on our will, to use our will. We have the right to act. We have the capacity to take action. We have access to power that we need to take actions in life. It's safe enough to be here. It's safe enough to feel, and it's safe enough to act for my highest good. And as those three chakras balance, remember the wisdom of your body will take the energy of your intention and attention and balance it. You don't have to figure it out. You just allow your intention to be there with love and trust. And just notice how working on those three with just attention and love open up the channel. You are a clear channel to access now the wisdom in your heart, your ability to communicate with your throat chakra, your ability to see truth and discern with your crown or your third eye, and your crown chakra, access to your higher self and higher wisdom. See if you can notice the flow through this open channel. The part of you that notices is the real you, the consciousness that's just experiencing this body, this life, and this on this planet, in this dimension. And just through your intention and attention, it's so easy to shift. If there's a block or an imbalance, it's so easy to shift. And it happens instantly. You have everything you need to feel whole. You have everything you need to create the life that you want. Nothing is lacking. And when you're done, you can come back into the room. We'll open up for any questions or comments before we close.
Can I say something?
Sure.
All right. So every chakra tells a story, right? And it's holding both our wounds and our potential for healing, which is why it fits in so well with what we teach with the survival patterns. And like you were saying, if you recognize areas that feel out of balance, you can have this knowing that healing is possible. And again, like you said, start with small daily practices, whether it's breath work, movement, mindful eating, affirmations. You'll begin to feel more aligned and empowered.
Thank you, Lynn. Well, we have some supportive tools to help everyone when we finish up this call. We will leave you with some options for some easy tips and tools to help. Cindy, what did you have?
Thanks very much, Kimberly. That was great. It's very informative. I had a question about blockages. So, when something is the chakra is blocked, is it possible that is it like on a spectrum? Like it could be partially blocked versus fully blocked, and
Yep.
then as you heal, it's kind of like yeah, it's you're
Hmm.
peeling back the layers of an onion, and it's getting wider channel. I guess I kind of envision it.
Exactly. Yep. And so you can have a day where it's just you're tired, it's underactive, it's sluggish, and then a day where it's fine, and a day where it's overactive. So just like anything else, there will be good days, bad days, high energy days, low energy days. And if it's a chronic thing, you will know. You will have symptoms that will manifest physically because everything happens energetically first, right? So, what I love about working with energy is that it's the easiest thing to work with for me, but it's the most powerful. So, I know if I have a physical problem in my digestion, for instance, I need to, I have options to work on the physical aspects. I can take probiotics, I can use digestive enzymes, I can eat healthier foods, I can get some good exercise, I can stay hydrated. But another tool I have is thinking about it from an energetic perspective and thinking about allowing for flow, allowing for balance. If there's resistance, trauma leads to resistance. I don't want to feel this thing, so I am going to shut down or ignore or avoid this thing. That's what leads to the imbalance in the chakra. The resistance, the block comes from us not feeling something we need to feel, not expressing something that needs expressed, because energy is always moving. And an emotion is energy in motion. So if we have a resistance or a block, most often it's an emotion that we haven't wanted to feel. So we shut it down, and then our chakra gets distorted or out of balance. So that might then manifest in digestive problems in my body. But first, the chakra gets affected. First, it's our energy. Then the energy manifests physically. So we can work on the physicality of it, but we can also work with the energy. And in between there is our thoughts and our emotions. So it's just another tool. And I think it should be fun. Like, what can we do that's fun and playful for healing instead of just like dealing with the heaviness and the discomfort of rewiring the pattern? So for me, working with chakras is a fun way to heal, fun way, an empowering way to heal. Because for me, it's been hard to rewire the pattern of fear, to rewire the pattern of perfectionism, to recover from the, the fear of not being enough. So if I can think of it from an energetic perspective, for me, that's just fun. So you're right. It can be overactive, can be underactive, and it's on a spectrum. But we don't have to, like with herbs, I'm going to measure what dose do I need. With energy, I can say, oh, I trust that the energy knows what to do. And I can tell if that's enough, I can stop. If I need more, I can allow more, but it knows what to do. Thank you. It's a great question, Cindy. Any other comments or questions? Yeah, so this can be an incredibly complicated topic, but Lynn and I wanted to just keep it really, really simple and just inspire you to think of healing not just from the physical perspective, but that we can use the energetic perspective and remember that we're more than just our body and we are not our traumas. We often get very identified with our trauma pattern, the survival pattern, and we forget that we are not our trauma. We are not our bodies. We are this beautiful divine being that is experiencing life through the body. And we absolutely, with our intention and our focus, can shift and change the experience that we're having. And so chakras are fun. It's a fun way to tune in and work with our body and our emotions and our mind. We've got a few ways that you can learn more about this. Right now, Lynn is actually offering a very short 3-day chakra challenge coming up here very soon. So Lynn, you want to talk about that? And also, I know you're very soon going to open up your course as well.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat for it's a 3-day mini chakra challenge. And in keeping with this idea of simplicity, it's very simple. You put your information into the form, you'll get a welcome email, and then the next day you'll get day 1, and it will just give you some simple just some simple practices you can do. It should take no more than 10 minutes if you sat down and did it. But it's to get you in this rhythm of awareness to apply these things in your body. Because when you have these in your life, and let's say you're working with somebody, a client, or maybe it's a family member, you can offer them some of these as well. And as a bonus, when you sign up, you will get a guided meditation and a PDF to go along with it to help you with all of those. And then I have a 3-month elemental chakra healing journey program that the doors are actually open for it. And let's see, where is that? And there are group calls with this, but it's mainly self-paced. And so you can take a look at that and see if that's something that, you know, how deep you want to go into it. You get a guide with, and then 6 modules. It also includes some suggested meals and recipes, a food journal. You get guides for things like yoga and aromatherapy and color therapy and the whole gamut, sound. We kind of touch on it all. But, and if you have any questions on it, let me know.
Awesome. So what we will do is we will make sure that all of the links and information for Lynn's upcoming chakra challenge and her course will be in the school community. So you can look for it there as well. And maybe in our follow-up emails, you will see in our newsletters, everybody that registered for this course that's watching the replay, we have your emails. So we will make sure that in our newsletters, and we will make announcements with these offerings. And then, of course, our trauma energetics coaching program, we cover chakras and we talk about the energetics of trauma. The first course is called The Energy and Physiology of Trauma. And we do go into a basic overview of the chakras in the course. So you learn how to work with trauma from the energetic perspective, which is how our program is really different than other programs, right? That we are a trauma-informed program that really doesn't just work with the nervous system, it works through the body and the energetics. And the chakra system is part of that. So thank you guys for showing up. This was a fun thing. Lynn, I'm so grateful that you are here to support us today and your brilliance and your understanding of the chakra system. We wanted to keep it really simple because often simple is more powerful. So remember that you can shift your energy just with your intention and your focus and keep it fun. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun. And everything else can be challenging when it comes to healing. So let's use our energy and work with our chakras for fun. Lighten up and enjoy it. Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you at our next Healing from Within. Bye.